Rev up your engine! BMWs, known as big money wasters. Bring my wallet when you go to the repair shop. Now this is a 2006 BMW 6 Series convertible. They're beautiful looking cars. And it has a massive BMW V8 engine with a lot of torque. And this one is the swanky rag top, but it's raining today, so we're not going to bring it down. It does have those insane low profile tires, and you can see these are all chewed up. That low, they're always breaking the rims, wrecking the tires. Now they are set up for performance. They have massive brakes in the front and in the back. And this 17-year-old one still goes like stink. But do they break down super fast and cost super amounts of money to fix? Well, I'll show you on this thing. We'll stick it in, put it in neutral and start it up. And it does sound great. You can see the leather's still in good shape. Now, yeah, they got tiny back seats. No arguing that. This is a two-door. It's not a lot of room in the back. But that's not what this is about. It's a sports car. It's a classic sports car. It's got a V8 engine in the front. It's got a 6-speed transmission in the middle. And it's rear-wheel drive. A classic rear-wheel drive car. But does it have classic BMW problems? Well, let's get out the scan tool and find out. And we'll see what happens. Now, I'm using a giant scan tool because these things have all kinds of technology, and this is going to pick it up a lot better than the cheaper ones will. Engine diagnosis. We're waiting, we'll see. Well, the SOS system doesn't work. It had a little warning on it. It knows the VIN. It knows it's a BMW 650i 2006. It's got all the information here, so just turn off the ignition switch, turn it back on. The systems. And there's a lot of systems in one of these things. Let me tell you. The CD changer, and that stuff's run by computers. It's got a DVD player too. Unfortunately, the screen doesn't work anymore. Through a ton of data. And not only will it make your head spin, it'll make your wallet spin when you find out what it costs to fix the stuff when it breaks down. All these crazy systems, so we're going to do a smart scan. Here we go. It's going through everything. Starting to find various problems in the red. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 reds and only 2 greens. There's a lot of red stuff here. So, we'll work our way down. Seat occupancy detector for the passenger for the airbag. That doesn't work anymore. Well, let's break all the time on BMWs. There's actually a scale that weighs them. You got to take the leather seats apart and everything to fix it. Costs a fortune, so most people just leave it alone. Instrument cluster, no message, telephone. Well, that makes sense because on the dash you saw it had SOS with an X across it, which means that the warning system, if you get in a wreck, that doesn't work. That works through the telephone system. Now, I mean, it's a luxury car. This stuff's supposed to work, but I mean, what the heck. We all have cell phones, so you really don't worry about it, but it's a luxury car. You expect that stuff to work. Well, guess what? It all breaks down in BMWs as they age. Now we'll check this, the AC. Okay, the fogging sensor isn't working. Yeah, that's how crazy these things are, and I'm not making this up. They have a sensor that if they see it's fogging, it turns the air conditioning on and will defog the thing, right? Of course, that's broken too. You put all this technology in, and it all breaks as time goes on. And now we'll go down here, see what the LM is, okay? License plate light is faulty. Who cares? We can work on that. They're coming on now, so we really don't care. These things often work on a ground interrupter type circuit, and they'll often give you a false data that a light isn't working when it's actually working. So as long as it works, we don't care. But it just shows the level they put in these things of insanity. When they age, they'll give you all kinds of warning for all kinds of things, and some of them are still working, but it tells you they aren't. The next one, malfunction in the CID due to periphery. We already know, we'll turn it on here, that the central information display, the only thing you get is a dark picture of a BMW, then it goes blank. This thing's gone out, and believe me, they cost a fortune. And while we're looking at it, look at the poor workmanship. The plastic is melted here. On top of this plastic being all cracked up. This plastic is melted. Now, this thing is only 1 year older than my Toyota Matrix. The dash looks like a new car in the Toyota Matrix. Even the plastic in BMWs is poorly made. We get to more important things. The main computer system. Okay, the thermal oil level sensor isn't working, and the variable intake system activation is acting up. The oil level sensors on BMWs always break. That's why you want one that has a dipstick so you can actually measure the oil to see what's in it. But in this case, another stupid BMW idea. There is no oil level dipstick on this, right? There isn't one. You have to use the information system electronically in the car and read the information on the display here. Well, guess what? As you can see, the display doesn't work. All it does is say a little BMW, then it goes dark. Would have been nice if they put a dipstick on the engine, but that's BMW. That's the Germans. We do that because we can. So the way this car's set up today, you can't check the oil. It tells you there's a problem on my computer with the oil level sensor, right? But you can't even access it because the dash doesn't work. If it would have had a dipstick, it would have made things a lot simpler. That's why you buy these things used. You're playing with dynamite, baby. Playing with dynamite. You never know what is going to go out. You have no idea how much oil is in it, right? Because the level sensor isn't working and there's no dipstick. Yes, BMWs are the ultimate driving machine, and you'll have the ultimate repair bill if you run out of oil because nothing's telling you you're running out of oil and you can't even check it and the engine blows up on this thing. Price of BMW V8 engine. It's probably 10 times what this car sold for used. Now the other one is variable intake system activator isn't working. This baby has variable intake on it to get gas mileage, power, combination. It can go one side or the other. It can be short for one reason, long for another by moving it, and that system isn't working correctly. But on the other hand, it's a humongous V8 engine. It still runs like stink. People have been seen driving this thing around over 140 miles an hour. It runs perfectly fine. Dad, I wouldn't really worry about it. Now, if you live in a place where they do emissions testing, yeah, that will make it fail the emissions test because the actuators aren't working. That has to do with pollution of the car. But here in Tennessee, nobody cares, so still goes like stink. You can drive it. So, well, get that out of the way, and then look at the last thing. No communication with door mirror on the driver's side. Okay, so as we can see, the electric adjustment for the mirror doesn't work anymore. But as you can see, if you push really hard, you can adjust it with your finger, the old style way. Now, yeah, luxury car's supposed to have this thing working here. No matter what side you put it on, it's not working. But hey, at least we can do that with our finger. So you can see the level of complexity of these things, and this is kind of the tip of the iceberg. Now we'll start it up. At least it starts right up. Some data stream. We'll select them all. Start looking at them. So basically, what we have to do is we have to pick 24 of them at a time. 3, 4, 5. I'll look at ones that are interesting. It's got knock signals for every cylinder. That's crazy. All 8 of them. You thought your car was bad with 1 or 2 knock sensors. This baby has 8 of them. We're looking at the data that we can. Battery voltage is good. You can see the differential pressure on the intake manifold is changing around a little bit all by itself. Shows that it has a minor problem. So that intake manifold runner stuff that moves and closes, it isn't that bad. And I mean, this thing runs like a scalded ape, so that's not something, like I say, you'd worry about. You can't worry about technicalities like that on an older BMW. It will make your head spin. There are just so much things that can be off some. It'll still run okay, but fixing them would cost a fortune, and it would just be an endless line of little crappy things you'd have to fix. A little bit worn engine. It does have like 104,000 miles on it, and you can see the knock signals are slightly different from some of them. 0.17 shows that there's more wear in some cylinders. We rev it up, you see the figures change differently for different ones, so the engine is a little bit worn. Now, as I say, it gives you some serious data. You can see it gives you the lambda value of different cylinders, 5 through 8, 1 through 4. It shows you the adaptation. We'll do the adaptation for the other bank of the engine. And we'll do the rough running value of all cylinders. We'll look at that data. All right, here we go. You can see 1 through 4 and 5 data are almost the same, 0.98, 0.97. The engine, so it's worn reasonably evenly on each side. And you can see 1 through 4, 5 through 8, they're really close, 1.08, 1.06. And you can see all the 8 cylinders. Okay, the 8 has less of an addition, so 7 is worn more than 8, 6 is worn 2, 5 a little bit less, 4 a little bit more. So if you have a problem, these machines are set up in the software so you can find where the problem is. But the problem is, okay, let's say one cylinder is really bad. On these, if you gotta take the engine apart and work on that cylinder, it is a small fortune. Nice to have the information. Techie guys love this stuff. But when it does break down, a fortune to repair. Valve timing system, you can see it shows adaptation, the position of the Vano system for one bank versus the other one. A lot of stuff you can analyze with these. The Germans are masters of analytics. They give you all this information. But realize, if this Vanos system ever goes out, A, small fortune to repair it. No if, ands, or buts. We'll check out that Vanos system. Here's the adaptation of the exhaust 1 through 4 and 5 through 8. And you can see, okay, it's adapting more degrees on the cylinders 1 through 4 than it is 5 through 8. So that shows the 1 through 4, they're a little bit worn than the other ones. For the exhaust, let's see if the inlet is the same. Just barely the same, because 1 through 4 is 132.3 and this is 132.1. That's pretty close, you know. Then we'll look at the exhaust and they're relatively close. 120, 119.9, 120, so they're pretty well even on the exhaust. And the intake Vanos for 1 through 4 is 100.199, 101.91, 101. They're relatively close. More change on the 5 to 8, but they're close enough. Like I say, this thing runs like stink. It's just, you never know how long they're going to run like stink. Now I'm going to clear these trouble codes, and you'll see the ABS one stayed, so did the SRS, and so did the instrument cluster, because the instrument cluster is obviously broken. It's not working. These particular ones are hard codes, not soft codes. They stayed. They won't erase. But considering it still runs good, well, we know that the tire pressure monitoring system isn't working. The tires have been changed. They're probably batteries would have been dead anyways, as old as it is. We'll take it for a spin. But as you can see now, they don't paint them like they used to. But it's almost completely faded off. Whee! And yes, it has these insane low profile tires that I hate anyways. Do realize, as you see, the gas is getting really low here and the warning's coming on. Yes, you drive them hard. They are tremendous gas hogs, even with the standard transmission. Now, as you drive down the road, you can hear that noise. Watch. The more I turn to the left, quiet, a little to the right, noisy to the left. That means the wheel bearings in the front are wearing out. Who knows how many times it's run into stuff that it's no surprise the wheel bearings are worn. But I gotta get gas fast before it leaves me stranded. It's almost on zero. Now realize one thing, you want this thing to run right, you're gonna have to run premium gas on it. So you're gonna pay more for it. So today for 10 bucks, you get a little over 2 gallons. And that's not gonna go so far in this thing. So now that it has some gas in it, we'll start it up. And I can actually drive without worried of running out of gasoline. And even though I've shown you why BMWs can be endless money pits, all the technology, the insanity, I'm going to show you why people buy them. I'm not saying whether it's a wise move or not. I'm just going to show you why people buy them. Because literally, when you're driving on the road, these things go like stink. No arguing that. They handle quite well. Even this one's shaking a little bit because it needs tires and balancing and stuff. These things are beasts on the road. And as we approach this curve here, you don't have to slow down, you can speed up. These things are insane. They're so much fun to drive. Because really, the BMW 6-cylinder engines were pretty quick to begin with. When they started messing with these V8s, hey, they got some powerhouses in them. Oh, if you want to ignore all the warning signs about BMWs and don't mind throwing caution to the wind, and you can find one of these cheap, there's plenty of low-priced ones out there when the owners find out how much it costs to fix them and the money they threw in them. You might have a whole bunch of fun for a short period of time driving one of these around. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.